8, 9, 8. Not so easy. Hey everybody, and welcome to Dallas TV. My name is Dallas Hardcastle. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the 8 key questions. The fifth way is a compound question. The compound question is something where we're going to ask that's basically a lot of times an either or. You know, did you wind up going out to the restaurant or did you wind up going over to the movies? You know, did you decide that you wanted to go with the blue one or the red one? Do you decide that you want to go ahead and have this installed on Wednesday or on Friday? Would you like me to call you back today or would you like me to call you back tomorrow at 4 o'clock? These kind of a compound questions can be good questions to be able to nail down some specifics. But they're also a way to be able to kind of create some kind of an imbalance sometimes. And these are planned imbalances that if we're trying to get some information maybe from a team member or from one of our employees and we're asking a question like, well, did you wind up finishing up on all those cold calls you were supposed to make? Or did you wind up completing, you know, the Robinson project? You know, sometimes they're going to sit and they're going to actually try to interpret which one of those you're putting the greater weight to, the greater importance to. The sixth type of question is what's called a canned question. It's something that you have a very specific question written down a lot. Sometimes you're interviewing somebody. Sometimes you're going into a sales meeting. Sometimes you're going into some kind of a production meeting. Sometimes you're going into a situation where you knew very little about this thing maybe just a few hours before, and you were really forced to become kind of an expert or a specialist in this area in just a couple hours. The seventh kind of question is a negative question. You know, it's like, so it isn't true that you were over there last night? You know, obviously these are questions again that are just, generally they're just good to avoid. But, you know, sometimes if you're trying to create confusion, if a confusion is your goal, and you're trying to, again, shake out something that you're not 100% positive, if, you know, 100% of, you know, something real or something truthful is being relayed to you, then a negative question can be something that's useful, but most of the time just a negative question just elicits some form of confusion at the very least. At the very most, it's just upsetting to the person that's being asked the question. And the eighth question and final question that can be so useful is a vague question. And again, a lot of the times, most of the time, we don't want to use vague questions. You know, so do you believe that you were seen with them? You know, do you believe that you were seen with them? A vague question. So it's very, very difficult to answer vague questions most of the time. But the thing that a vague question can be used for, again, is if you're trying to get into some kind of a hidden area of a conversation that maybe they don't know that you're trying to take them to, or maybe you're not even aware that exists. But sometimes just by asking vague questions, it can actually lead people into going to areas that they weren't planning to go to, and maybe you weren't even planning to lead them to. But of all of these, a vague question can sometimes really unearth and really uncover things that you never imagined would come out of a conversation. I really hope now, understanding these 8 different kinds of questions, the thing is to go and practice using some of these different kind of questions. In sales, this was just a huge tool of something that I learned just years and years and years ago, is understanding that questioning is by far the most powerful way that you can influence others, by asking good, relevant questions. But understanding these 8 different kinds of questions that you can ask when it's at the right time, when it's in the right place, when it's appropriate, and you can actually figure out when and how to use these 8 questions, you become very powerful in being able to elicit exactly the information and the emotion and the responses that you want to get from people when you want to get them. These are the kind of questions that allowed me to be able to, you know, take an industry average and go 250% above it. Thank you very, very much for watching Dallas TV. My name is Dallas Hardcastle, the Chief Creativator, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. That's just what shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let this roll.